Hello and welcome to Future Fit Leadership. I'm your host, Sadna Smiles, and welcome to our Spotlight series where I speak with bold, curious, and forward thinking leaders about the world of leadership we're stepping into. These conversations are here to challenge, inspire, and remind you that the future of leadership is being shaped right now by leaders like you. Because let's be honest, we are the generation of leaders writing the new rules. Please enjoy my conversations in this Spotlight series. Joining us today is Michelle Redfern. She is a globally recognised DEI strategist and founder of Advancing Women in Business and Sport. She hosts the Lead to Soar podcast and is the author of The Leadership Compass, helping women lead with clarity, impact and purpose. Michelle, welcome to the Spotlight series.
Thanks for having me on again.
So let's go through our 4 questions. I'll ask the
Mm.
first one. If you had to describe a future fit leader in just 3 words, the kind of leader we'll need the most in the years ahead, what would they be and why?
The leader is going to have BQ, EQ, and SQ skills, which
Right.
is
Tell us more
uh,
about that.
unashamedly my leadership formula. Look, there's a lot of leadership formulas out there. There's a lot of leadership definitions, Sadhna. And the one thing I've learned is we've actually got to show people how rather than tell and kind of rely on them to go, what does good leadership look like? So the BQ, high BQ leader, they know the business of the business, where it's heading, and their role in getting it there. They know all of the numbers and the story that they're telling, and they're really ambitious for themselves, their teams, and the business. So that's the business intelligence BQ. The high EQ leader, they are, and which is emotional intelligence, but in the context of leadership, the high EQ leader is the person who knows how they want to show up in service of themselves, their teams, and their organisation. That means they know what makes them tick, including what makes them go tick, tick, boom. They know how to read the room with empathy and compassion and that real social skill to understand how to get the best out of people, and then how to capture all of that and align it towards the organisational outcomes. So that's that real, and that creates such a leadership edge for leaders who have got that. And then the SQ leader, they're the leader that people want to do business with, whether they're within their own organisation, their own industry, or more broadly. And they're the leader who has great business intelligence skills, great emotional intelligence skills, but they've also got such a fabulous leadership brand. They're great strategic networkers. And it's all because people know them, respect them, and trust them. And they are very, very deliberate about how they show up. They're great at influencing, great at negotiation. Um, and they're literally the purple person because they're so trustworthy and ethical. We want to do more business with them. So that's the kind of leaders that we need for a future fit, organisation and society.
I want to dig in a little bit. I don't normally do this, but I will with this one because they're 3 very big buckets that leaders have to focus on. They're not superficial, they're very deep, and it takes a lot for a leader to be in tune with all 3 of those. What is the best advice you can give to leaders in terms of what they will need to do to be really good across all 3?
The first piece of advice is understanding that business intelligence constitutes depending on your level in the organisation, will constitute somewhere between 60 and 80% of the criteria.
Mm.
So middle to senior managers, it's around 60% of the skills associated with being able to run a business. And then the EQ and the SQ, they become your leadership edge or your competitive edge. So understand the ratios. It's not 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So really understand and the second piece, which is related to that, is where are my strengths and how do I keep playing to them, but not make them overused strengths, because every overused strength has a shadow side. And then where are my opportunities and how do I get really deliberate and intentional about focusing on them? These are all skills, and like any other skill, can be learned and with discipline practice mastered. Now, there are going to be things that are going to be more or less important at different stages in your career. So, I think the third piece of advice is understand your career stage and get the right career advice, the right advice about leadership and what you must most be focusing on.
What's the one future shift coming in the next few years that you think most leaders are underestimating or not prepared for?
How important skills are and how important it is. And I'm actually thinking more at an organisational level, and then that must translate through to all of our leaders and our managers. And the way that we skill people is to understand what are the skills required. Now, I think it's lazy if I say, look, automation, AI, machine learning, all of that kind of stuff is going to take over jobs. The reality is that it has been doing so for decades anyway. Our skills must shift. So I want people who are really serious about leadership to pay attention to what the organisation, the industry, and the world needs humans to do and to build those skills. Not just blindly follow perhaps a leadership or a management model or an organisational development model that even 10 years ago is frankly now out of date. So we've got to stay abreast of this real velocity of change that's happening in the world. So it's pay attention.
Mm. What do you wish more leaders were paying closer attention to?
Skills. And really, that's what I want more leaders to do, is to understand that as people leaders, they have a responsibility to develop the people in their teams. Too often I still say, oh, look, I didn't have time to do my coaching this month, or, my manager hasn't had a career development conversation with me. I don't have a career development plan. I still don't see the development of talent and talented people as a core skill, competency, and responsibility for leaders. We absolutely have to be funneling in people into our talent pipelines, but giving them development. By the same token, we also have to take individual accountability for our development. I'm very big on radical accountability. So, the most successful people are those who take the initiative to say, where am I heading and how am I going to get there? And then do something about it. Even better is when they say, where am I heading? How am I going to get there in the context of my organisation and how I can contribute? So it's really this paying attention to developing people's skills.
What are the possibilities or shifts you see in the future of leadership or work that genuinely excites you, and why?
I think we're at a real inflection point right now about the way we do work. And look, there's a lot, there's always conversation, particularly since COVID, about the workplace, remote work, hybrid work, return to office mandates, this, that, and the other. I am most excited, including infuriated and frustrated, at what that is going to equate to. I think work is something we do, not necessarily a place we go to. But I'm really excited to see some progressive leaders saying, how do I help my team, my people, my team, my organisation reach its full potential, and designing workplaces that work for those people, including, and I cannot not put my gender equity and DEI hat on here, including saying, how do I make sure that people who are at the margins and marginalised have the opportunity to reach their full potential in my organisation? And that doesn't necessarily mean them schlepping into an office in a CBD somewhere 5 days a week. So I'm really excited, albeit frustrated with the conversation, but I'm excited about how that's going to play out, because I think that's going to open up a vastness of talent that is thus far untapped.
If you could embed one leadership quality into every current or future CEO, something you believe will be essential in the next decade, what would it be and why?
It comes back to the model for CEOs to get to CEO positions. Rightly has been they need to be good stewards of the organisation and make sure they're delivering for people, customers, and shareholders. Now, I think the shareholders, customers, people paradigm gets shifted around a little bit, but I would like most CEOs to say, ask themselves periodically, does every human involved in this organisation have the opportunity to reach their full potential, whether they're a part of my team, one of my customers, or one of my stakeholders or shareholders? It's a really good grounding question to go, what do I need to do more of or less of right now for that group of humans?
I love that. Something that I've always done in my organisation when I employ people in here, I say to them that when you choose to leave, my job is to make you better than what you are when you came with me so that you can get the
Absolutely.
better job.
Yep.
That's the one thing that I promise I will do when you work in my organisation, because
It's great. I was on the board of a football club, a state league football club that wasn't AFL aligned, and I loved what our CEO did at the time, which he just said, "This is a staging post to build the next group of talent for the big league, and we're so proud that we can contribute to those people moving on to that." So, and I think that's such a great mindset to have to. Again, it's this talent development, taking talent and people's potential really, really seriously. It's a leadership accountability.
Mm. Michelle, thank you for joining us all the way from Bali. I'm very jealous that you were able to work there for part of the year and spend the rest of the time in Australia. You lucky girl, but thank you for joining us.
Pleasure, Sadhana. Thanks for having me again.
I hope you're enjoying our conversation. A quick word from our sponsor. Have you ever wondered how to attract, develop, and augment diverse leadership capability in your organisation? Well, Future Leadership has a range of leadership solutions, including executive search, interim executives, leadership development programs, coaching, and workforce transformation specialists. They are an Australian-owned B Corp and one of very few globally accredited and connected talent solution firms. They are very proud of their 22-year history, bringing more diverse leadership to Australian decision-making tables. See the link in our show notes to get in touch with them. If you like what you've heard, please share, rate and review this podcast, and don't forget to share it with anyone who might benefit from hearing it. The producer of Future Fit Leadership is Maritza Barone from Guide Your Light Network. If you would like to reach out to me, please DM me on any of my social media platforms. I'm available for speaking at conferences or consulting to your business. Future Fit is created in partnership with Future Leadership, a capability ecosystem for boards and executives. If you'd like to join the community and receive a free takeaway each week, sign up to the Future Exchange app in my show notes. Thank you for having me in your space.